want to take a moment and I want to address this comment. So she wrote, justice is being slapped every day we wait. Spirit may say trust, but people are suffering. And I wanted to make a video addressing the last part specifically. Spirit may say trust, but people are suffering. And what I want to say about that specifically is I come on here to give messages of hope because I too know what it's like to suffer. I know what that feeling is like. And sitting in that perspective of suffering hurts. And I have found in my 42 years of life, in the insurmountable amount of suffering that I have endured in this life, that hope and faith are literally the reason I am still here on earth. Because if I did not have that, I assure you I would not be speaking before you right now. For the things that I have endured in my life. And I don't have to always speak about those things. And I don't have to speak about what I'm currently dealing with either. What some people would choose to say is suffering. I choose to say that it is a situation that is molding me to be great. It is a situation put at my feet by Spirit to remind me of my faith. Because every situation I have ever encountered in my life that some may deem a suffering moment, painful moment, a loss, a negative, there's always been something far greater to come from it. Far greater. And on this comment, another person said that she's one of the people that's currently suffering as a result of this current administration. And so I commented, and I'm going to repeat it, and I'm going to go into bigger detail about this. But I said, I too am one of the people that is being affected by this current administration. Some of you may know, or maybe you don't know, but prior to me getting on TikTok and sharing my psychic abilities as a psychic medium and deciding to be called Magical Mimi as a result, my name's Melissa. I'm from Metro Detroit, Michigan. And I was a 4th generation General Motors employee. I was a 4th generation automotive worker. I was a quality engineer, and I worked my way up as a quality coordinator in 2008 to in 2014 becoming a quality engineer without a bachelor's degree. And I recognize that it is this color that I am that afforded me those opportunities. And I don't take that lightly at all. But I started my career in 2008, and a year later, I was laid off, like so many people in my hometown. So many people in my industry, and my dad, who at the time was a skilled tradesman with General Motors closed his plant in Pontiac. And he was faced with a decision: move to Fort Wayne, Indiana, or lose his pension, lose everything he worked hard for. And he made the difficult decision to move away from his family to keep that pension, to keep that legacy. And he did it. And it's not without suffering. But you can choose to change your perspective on what people deem to be suffering to be an opportunity to shape our faith. An opportunity to continue to trust that brighter days are ahead because Spirit tells you they are. I know they are. And during that period of time from 2009 Specifically, I was laid off on January 31st, 2009. And it wasn't until January 31st, 2012 that I got another job that actually propelled my career, that gave me those opportunities to be able to become a quality engineer without having a bachelor's degree. And in that time, in those 3 years, I dealt with a lot. But I continue to have faith. I continued to trust that things would get better. And there were moments, of course, where I crumbled and I was angry at God. Why me? Why am I going through these things? Like in the fall of 2011, I had a huge lymph node issue. And you can't see the scar here anymore, but there's a scar down there. It was the size of a baseball in my neck. And they thought it was going to be lymphoma. I had to have surgery, and I didn't have insurance at that time. And I didn't know how I was going to pay for it, but my church family stepped up, and they helped me pay for that. And then by the grace of God and through the power of prayer, that lymph node shrunk. And the results from the Mayo Clinic were benign. And during that time, that's when I got Let Go, Let God tattooed. And I made sure to have it as a quill. So when I wore sleeves, I would always see the little quill poking out as a reminder that you just got to let go and let God, and you got to have faith. You got to have faith that no matter what comes your way, you're going to be able to get through it. And to be human is to suffer. It's part of this great human experience. And part of that experience of suffering as a human is being able to choose what perspective you have about that suffering. So I'm going to take you to now, right now, what I'm dealing with now. I said that I'm going to retire from General Motors like my dad did, and my grandfather and my great-grandfather. Little did I know that it would have been at age 41, and it would have been against my own will. I was laid off out of the blue 10 days before I was scheduled to have surgery to correct severe cervical spinal stenosis. And I had to move forward with that surgery, because if I didn't, I would have become paralyzed. I wasn't even allowed to drive because a fender bender could have left me paralyzed, if not unalived. And so I had to take this opportunity and get the surgery in order to heal, in order to be able to pick up a pen, in order to hold a utensil to eat without being mentally in pain, trying to do so. And if you've never experienced mental pain of trying to do something that your body once was able to do, and you can't do it, I wish that pain on no one, because it comes coupled with physical pain. I wish it on no one. Go to part 2.